To build anything that truly lasts, it takes time.
Let's get going and tracking the global markets. An eye on the Wall Street first. Well, the Dow, that jumped more than 300 points, and the S&P 500 in fact set a new record after a better than expected June jobs report. That fueled optimism that the US economy, which was is hanging tough despite that fast-changing trade policy and geopolitical environment. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that advanced over 340 points. The S&P 500, that at about 0.8%, whereas the NASDAQ Composite, that gained more than 1% yesterday. Both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, as I said earlier, closed at record levels. This came as the non-farm payrolls data rose by 1,47,000. Now, that's above the Dow Jones forecast from economists for 1,10,000 and an upwardly revision from 1,44,000 in May earlier. Now, the unemployment rate, that also fell to 4.1%, whereas the economists, they had projected an increase of 4.3%. Now, the strong jobs report also spurred a spike in treasury yields and reduced expectations for the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates soon. Now, Thursday, as I remember, Thursday was a shortened trading session with the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ closing at 1 p.m. That is, it was a half day, and the markets will remain closed today for Independence Day. Now, if you look at the weekly moves, all three major U.S. averages closed out the week in the positive territory. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ, they were up about 1.7% and 1.6% on week, whereas the Dow, that posted gains of more than 2%. But Snehi, how are things looking on the commodity front?
Well, absolutely flat, Kanishka, if you could call it that. Hi there, good morning. If you take a look at what the crude indices have done overnight, it's not been all that much. And you have good reason behind that as well, because you have a lot of cues coming in from the US, the non-farm payroll data like Kanishka mentioned. So if you take a look at what oil has been up to, you have WTI, that's absolutely flat at $67 per barrel. You have Brent, that's also at 68.7. So the gap, in fact, that we're seeing between WTI and Brent seems to have narrowed tremendously. And oil has eased on US tariff uncertainty and OPEC plus output expectations. Remember, this 9th of July deadline is largely still looming on countries that are trade partners with the US, but have not heard any significant deals as of yet. This week, we've heard a US trade deal coming in with Vietnam. Earlier, we heard the same with UK as well. So all eyes are going to be on trade deals with India, Japan. So all of this is going to be majorly in focus. And more important for this in terms of the oil market and what could be setting the momentum over there, you have the OPEC plus meeting. The OPEC plus countries are going to be meeting on the 6th of July, and they're expected to hike output by 411,000 barrels going ahead. So at least that is the take on crude and oil, and that is what the commodities have been up to. But